Hi, this is Miss Hadi from Olympian High School, and I want to do a quick intro to Traditions and Encounters, Chapter 3, Early African Societies and the Bantu Migrations. So the first thing you want to notice is that this is about Africa. So Africa is not a country, okay? Africa is a continent, but in this class we usually study things by region. So North Africa is a region separate from Southern Africa, separate from Eastern Africa, Western Africa, Central Africa. So Africa is a very, very, very big place. When students don't know about something, they tend to generalize about it, and that's not always very helpful. So when learning about Africa, just keep in mind that anything that we say may not apply for the total continent, and that we're going to be focusing on certain parts of this continent. The other part of the chapter is about the Bantu migrations. So you can see the other big focus about these migrations. You probably immediately are making a comparison to chapter 2 with the Indo-European migrations, as you should. These are two migrations that have a lot of similar effects, so you can learn about that as we go. So obviously you're going to read about the vignette. The vignette is about mummification, something that most students have been studying since they were children, about Egypt. So you can learn about Egyptian funerary customs and how they're reflected in agricultural society. So again, you should see these words like as Mesopotamians. As is a comparative word. So there's a lot in common with chapter 2 with Mesopotamia. You're also going to realize that also, like chapter 2, you are going to see the people of Africa interact with their counterparts in other parts of the world and be involved in trade and exchange. So you'll learn about their exchanges in the book. The two major societies I want you to know that are the focus of chapter 3 before we get to the Nubian migrations are Egypt and Nubia. Sorry, to the Bantu migrations. I just heard myself misspeak. So you're going to learn about Egypt and Nubia, and then at the very end, you'll learn about the Bantu migrations. So first, make sure that you know that there are two major societies, Egypt and Nubia. Now, you might be tempted to think, oh, I know about Egypt. I've seen a map of Africa. I know where Egypt is today. So if you were to look up a map of Africa today, you'd see here's Africa, you'd see the state of Egypt. You'd be like, oh, okay, there's Egypt. Well, no, that's not what I mean when I say Egypt for chapter 3. Egypt in chapter 3 refers to just the strip of land around the Nile River Valley here, this green part. So it's roughly where Egypt is today. Okay, so there's the Nile if we were to zoom in closer. But it's in kind of roughly the same place, but it's obviously not the same. It's not this square looking boundaries on the edge. It's just this upper part of the Nile River Valley. Okay, so make sure you know about that it's not the same Egypt. It's in roughly the same area. And then the southern part is going to be Nubia. You see cataracts. Cataracts represent waterfalls. Okay, so don't confuse that with a cataract in your eyeballs. So you have Egypt, you have Nubia. Something else that it might be helpful to know if you're not very familiar with Africa is that Africa is huge. You could probably fit the entire United States, in fact you can fit the entire United States in the northern part of Africa if we were to look at the United States, right, versus Africa. It's very small compared to Africa, so it's huge. Also, there's an area here called the Sahara Desert. It didn't always used to be a desert. It became desiccated or drier around 5000 BCE. Up until that point, it was mostly steppe lands. So just know that this is the largest desert in the world didn't used to exist. When we think of Africa, we can think of it as being like, just for the sake of ease, of 3 concentric circles, with the inner part being the most like, how do you say, the wettest part, the most tropical part. And then as you go out to the second circle, it's a little bit drier, and then driest at the outer circle. Now that's not exactly perfect. Obviously, you can tell Africa isn't 3 circles, but that's to help you understand that at the outer edges of Africa, it's going to have more desert landscape. In terms of elevation, it's also helpful to know that in general, Africa is kind of like a staircase, and it goes up in elevation as you go from west to east. That's a good start for the chapter. Let's begin.